Hundreds of people who work for the PNC Financial Services Group are getting a fresh perspective on our region from a brand new tower that's risen in the heart of Pittsburgh's Golden Triangle. It's billed as the greenest Skyrise in the world, the tower at PNC. The company actually got its start in green building about 15 years ago when it opened the First Side Operations Center on the banks of the Mon River. It's since grown into one of the largest corporate owners of green real estate in the world. And now it's opened a showcase building, bringing together everything it's learned along the way and everything it could borrow from best practices around the world right here into our region. Here with us to talk a little bit about this project is Mike Gilmore. He is the Director of Construction for the PNC Financial Services Group. Welcome, good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about, I guess, the philosophy behind the construction of this building to begin with. It was predestined. It was going to be LEED certified at green, right?
Yeah, the idea was we had kept setting the bar higher and higher as we built and got more involved in green design. So how do you exceed, what's already on the page? We've gone through the LEED program, the way the buildings are all evaluated as we build each one. So the goal here was to go beyond it, establish yourself as LEED Platinum, but then exceed that in some way so you can make the claim that you're the greenest skyrise in the world.
Okay, so what are some of the bells and whistles you had to come up with? And more than bells and whistles, these are really substantive technologies that push the bar when it comes to building a building.
Yeah, but before we get into all those details, it's important that everything in this building has been tried before. I mean, we have a responsibility to our shareholders to build an efficient building that has a way of paying back. We want to be the greenest building in the world, so we don't really want to be on the cutting edge as far as every technology, but where we are on the cutting edge is putting all these technologies in one building. Sort of the signature of the building is the natural ventilation, the operable windows and the way it works with the solar chimney and ventilates using no energy when the conditions are right, to something a little more simple and established like water reuse, reclamation of the rainwater and the wastewater in the building, treating it and then reusing that water to flush the commodes and to refill our cooling towers on the roof.
So you mentioned the high rise. Does that really make a big difference when you're thinking about how to apply these kinds of technologies?
Yes, it does. We also have a branch building program that we've been doing for years that is also LEED certified. And we pushed the envelope on that on a branch down in Fort Lauderdale. We wanted to go net zero energy. What would it take to build a net zero energy building? But in a 3,000 to 4,000 square foot building, you install a lot of photovoltaic power panels, you decrease the energy use in the building, you maximize the tightness of the envelope, and you have an efficient building that will run at net zero. It'll produce more energy than it uses over the course of the year. That's a lot easier on a 4,000 square foot building than it is on an 800,000 square foot building. You couldn't put enough photovoltaic panels on this building in Pittsburgh and make it energy efficient that way. You have to look at other angles, and that's what makes it a little tougher when you're doing a high rise.
You talked about the solar chimney. What exactly is that, and how does that work?
It's the same thing you do at home. When it's nice out, you open the window, right?
But that's been anathema inside modern high-rise buildings. God
Why
forbid they open
that?
a window.
Don't open a window, you mess everything up. Yeah. But the other thing in a high rise is, in order to move air around, you have to install these really big fans that use a lot of energy. So how can you get the air to rise without burning the energy? And a very simple concept, like your chimney at home, is the stack effect. Hot air rises. And you can increase the velocity of that air rising by increasing the height of the stack, the height of the chimney. And then you have to have a draw at the top. So what we did is at the top of this building is a concrete slab painted black with a glass top on it. Every day the sun comes out, heats the concrete, and the concrete creates a hot spot at the top of these two solar shafts. They're simply just chimneys that go to the top to bottom on both sides of the building. That creates the draw. Now when the conditions are right, the building automation system opens the windows. The air comes into a chamber, the double exterior chamber. If the temperature, again, is tested and correct, the vents open at the bottom of the inside curtain wall and lets the air into the space. But that just lets the air into the space. How is it drawn across the space? At the solar chimney, there are some louvers. Again, the building management system says to open those louvers a little bit, and now you have that draw across. So again, conditions are right, the exterior windows open, the interior vents open, the louvers open on the solar chimney, and now the air is drawn up just by stack effect. No fans. So you could run the building 42% of the time with no energy.
Wow, with no energy at all.
No electricity.
So if it all works the way it's designed to work, I mean, how much of a savings are you potentially going to realize for a similar building of this size?
Well, the savings is projected at 50%, 50% of the energy. And if you use our building across the street, one PNC is a model. That's a more standard building. It was built in the 70s. Uses about $1 million worth of electricity every year. So you're going to save about $500,000 in this building because of these systems that we've employed. And we have checked it. We built a mock-up out in Green Tree about 1.5 years ago to check these systems just to make sure. Again, they've been used before around the world, but we want to be doubly sure that when you commit to a 33-story office building that it really works, right? And we did. We made some changes out there that could have cost us in the implementation stage. But that mock-up proved that this 50% savings is real. Because even in Pittsburgh's conditions, humidity, the temperature, everything taken into consideration, we can run the building in natural ventilation 42% of the year. So 42% of the year we're running the building for free.
That is an incredible story. Well, hopefully, beyond just the energy savings and the technology, hopefully it's also a great place to work. And when we come back, I want to talk to you about some of the features of the building that really make it extraordinary in terms of just a workplace. So we'll be back in a minute with Mike Gilmore of PNC right after this. Stay with us.